Welcome, 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 Hattiesburg, and a pleasant day to all our listeners. This is Abby, your host for Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. I'm here to bring you updates, news, and more from our community. To add to all the excitement today, we have Mississippi Moments with Charles Dunnigan and a news wrap with Justin Glowacki to ensure you're up to date on all the hottest topics. And guess what? We have a very special guest for you today, our student spotlight, Sam Romeo. You definitely want to stay tuned for what she has to share with us today. But before we jump into all the fun, here's a quick message from our sponsor. So hang tight, we'll be right back with more about Southern Miss Today.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer.
In response to attacks against Asian Americans, Maddie Park raised over $250,000 to donate cab rides to the Asian community.
There is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
Support the Asian community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Put a frog in boiling water and it'll jump right out. But put a frog in cool water and slowly heat it up, that frog will boil. As veterans, we tell ourselves the lie that we can handle anything. We let the water boil. You are not a frog. If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach. Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. In campus news, SMAC, the Southern Miss Activities Council, will hold its silent party in which students wear headphones and listen to one of 3 stations. The evening usually includes a DJ battle as well. Students should bring their ID for admission. This will take place on January 31st from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. in the Thad Cochran Center Ballrooms 1 and 2. There are more events to follow. There will be escape rooms on February 5th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. in the Thad Cochran Center rooms 214 and 216. SMAC presents on February 12th from 7 to 9 p.m. in the Joe Paul Student Theater. Step Africa on February 24th from 7 to 9 p.m. in the Thad Cochran Center Grand Ballrooms, and Mental Health Day on March 12th from 7 to 9 p.m. in Spirit Park, with more events to follow. Also in campus news, the Mississippi Board of Trustees of State Institutions of Higher Learning has approved a new 4-year contract for University of Southern Miss President Dr. Joe Paul, extending his service through December 31st, 2028. Paul was named 11th president of the university in October 2022 after serving as interim for nearly 3 months and following more than a 40-year career at the institution. During his first 2 years as president, Paul's priorities have been to enhance student recruitment and grow enrollment, further support teaching and research, revitalize the student life experience, research and exceed the university's capital campaign goal, engage Southern Miss alumni base, and provide support to Southern Miss athletics through its transition to the Sun Belt Conference. Dr. Paul and his wife, Meg, reside in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and are active members at the Trinity Church. They have 2 grown children and 2 grandsons. In Hattiesburg news, Forest County trustees help build beds for kids in need. An organization that builds beds for children need to get some volunteer help Saturday from trustees at the Forest County Jail. Both state and county inmates at the jail worked together as volunteers to construct 12 beds for kids who needed them. It was all part of a project sponsored by Sleep in Heavenly Peace. Sleep in Heavenly Peace is an organization with nearly 400 chapters across the United States, including 3 in Mississippi. Forest County Sheriff Charlie Sims said he and his staff talked through allowing prisoners to take part in the bed-making process. To learn more about donating to or volunteering to the organization, go to Sleep in Heavenly Peace Hattiesburg Chapter Facebook page. In Mississippi news, many people are in need of mobility aids throughout the state. Mississippi Heroes' mission to create and support caregivers has recently defaulted at times to bring mobility to those without. However, that objective is now at a financial standstill with a backlog of more than 20 wheelchair ramps needed for disabled residents across the coast. The nonprofit organization has installed more than 40 wheelchair ramps in southern Mississippi. However, they say another 40 are currently needed, including 6 in Jackson County alone. Ramps equal freedom for people with mobility issues, but those ramps are far from free. Executive Director Catherine Sutton says those in need often can't afford to make their homes accessible for daily tasks or to even receive life-saving care. A 7-year-old Van Cleve native, Robley Turner, is one of many folks in Jackson County in desperate need of a new ramp. some costing as much as $4,700 or more to install. However, Turner says the value of his mobile freedom is priceless. Despite the funding shortfall, there are hopes that Mr. Turner's ramp will be completed by the end of next month. Mississippi Heroes helps Harrison, Hancock, and Stone counties as well. For those interested in donating to the nonprofit, visit MississippiHeroes.org. That's your news update from Southern Miss Today. Next, we'll have the latest in sports and weather, so stay tuned. We'll be back after a word from our sponsors.
Sponsorship comes from American Graphics. Located at 8 Commercial Warehouse Drive in Hattiesburg, American Graphics provides custom screen printing and embroidery. They can be reached by phone at 601-602-2277. And the website is goamericangraphics.com. American Graphics, printing at its finest.
Hey, it's C. Looking for something fresh to add to your playlist? Tune in every Wednesday at 4 p.m. for See the Music. I'll be diving into the world of underrated pop and indie artists, those hidden tracks and emerging talents that deserve the spotlight. This week's episode is all about underrated pop bangers, a mix of energetic, catchy songs that totally capture the essence of pop, but haven't gotten the mainstream love they deserve. So if you're tired of the same old songs and ready to explore new sounds, this is the show for you. So join me and let's discover some incredible music together. See you Wednesday at 4 on WSM.
Welcome back with our action-packed sports segment. Let's dive into the latest scores, highlights, and sports. Get your jerseys on because it's game time. Today, Wednesday, January 29th, the men's basketball team will be playing against Arkansas State. On Thursday, January 30th, the women's basketball team will be playing against Texas State. On Friday, January 31st, the women's tennis team will be playing against the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. On Saturday, February 1st, the women's basketball team will be playing against Troy. The men's tennis team will be playing against Jackson State University, and the men's basketball team will be playing against Georgia State. And on Sunday, February 2nd, the women's tennis team will be playing against Northwestern State. Head to southernmiss.com to keep up with all the Golden Eagles sports activities. As for weather today, look for a low of 47 with a low chance of rain and a high of 69. The feels like for today is 49 to 70 degrees. Tomorrow look for a low of 55 and a high of 72 with a low chance of rain. Tomorrow's feels like is 54 degrees to 68 degrees. Up next, we have Mississippi Moments, produced by the Center for Oral History and Cultural Heritage, with Charles Dunnigan recalling racial violence in Macomb. Check it out.
This is Mississippi Moments, produced by the Center for Oral History and Cultural Heritage at the University of Southern Mississippi and supported by the Mississippi Humanities Council. I'm Bill Ellison. As a journalist in Macomb during the Civil Rights Movement, Charles Dunnigan reported on over 24 acts of violence and intimidation. He recalls the feelings of fear and anger in the city at that time.
What precipitated a lot of the violence in Macomb in 1964? There had been some here previously in 61, 62. That was before I got here. But then in 64, COFO, the Council of Federated Organizations, sent in a bunch of college students from the north and the east, and they put on voter registration drives. If you didn't live through that time, you can't imagine the fear that people had of what they call changing our way of life, and they thought these people were going to be violent and all that, which they weren't. They were pretty passive. They were on the receiving end of violence. It mainly consisted of setting off explosions, throwing dynamite at homes where civil rights workers were perceived to be. There were at least 3 churches that were destroyed. It was that sort of thing.
Bill Ellison hosts Voices of Our People World War II, a new podcast from Mississippi Moments, sponsored by the Mississippi Humanities Council. That's Voices of Our People World War II, wherever you get your podcasts.
That was your Mississippi Moment for today. Coming up, we have the pleasure of hearing from Sam Romeo after a quick break.
Look through your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles. They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide through this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Now please give a warm Golden Eagle welcome to our student spotlight, Sam Romeo. How are you?
I'm living the dream. How are you doing today?
I'm also living the dream.
That's amazing.
That is awesome. So could you tell everyone a bit about yourself?
So first, my name is Sam Romeo. I'm originally from New Jersey, but I moved to Houston about 5 years ago, and I did like high school there. From there, I applied to the University of Southern Mississippi and got in. And now I'm currently a junior in communications, and I'm focusing on multimedia. And my dream is to have my own podcast, and it's gonna be called Everybody Loves Sam.
I love that. That's awesome. This is kind of like a kickstart for
No,
your
literally.
podcast. This is, guys, today's show is Everybody Loves Sam. That's the title of the episode. So could you tell everyone a bit about the fraternity that you are mainly here to talk about?
I am currently in a fraternity called Alpha Tau Omega. It started in 1942, I think. Don't quote me on that. I'm definitely wrong. But I am in this fraternity. I'm on their Sweetheart Court. I'm with 3 to 4 other women that are currently on that court, and it is one of the best experiences I've ever been in.
So you mentioned the Sweetheart Court, and we were talking about it a little bit before. What is the difference between what you are in it versus the Sweethearts that are in it?
So the Sweetheart is just one person. She is in charge of the entire Sweetheart Court. So like she's basically like our president of like the women basically. And then the women on Sweetheart Court just assist her with everything else. And like we all do work together, but she's in charge of like the designs and like the final calls, like if that makes sense.
Yeah. For people that might not know what Sweetheart is in fraternities, could you explain that a little bit more?
Sweetheart is basically the sister to the brothers, because a fraternity is a brotherhood all about having brothers. Some fraternities do adopt the concept of having like sisters in their chapter. They use their sisters to help with their banners, help design flyers, also come to their events, also help network with other women to share but bring them to the house as well. But
what is a benefit that you see in having Sweethearts rather than just the fraternities are only men or sororities are only women?
I think it helps allow more people to get involved. So it's not just for men now, it's for men and women. Women don't have to be uncomfortable about going into a male-dominated space. Having Sweethearts, there are girls that will be there, and like you feel less alone knowing that there's other women at the house, not just men. And I feel like it's easier to make friends with women in the beginning because it's easier to connect.
You also mentioned before that you are not in a sorority, but you are on the Sweetheart Court? Well,
yes, I never wanted to join a sorority, and I still don't want to. But I literally always like loved the idea of the brotherhood and being involved, and I never thought that I could actually be involved myself, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Awesome. So you explained a little bit how you are a woman in an all-male fraternity. That was the next question, but that actually, I fulfilled that already. Whoops. What is your favorite thing about being in the fraternity?
I love being a part of something bigger than myself. And not only that, I get to meet so many different people and learn so many different things and experience so many different experiences with people that lift me up and make me feel supported. And I never feel like I'm not noticed. I feel like I am with my family, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Which is actually the really the main, if I can make words happen, the main thing that's advertised about Greek life is having the support and a community. And I don't think people really think about, like, the Sweetheart thing, for example, if they even know about it. I know some people don't, but that it could feel just the same being a woman in the fraternity or vice versa, or that it goes outside of just being a sister in a sorority or a brother in a fraternity, if that makes sense.
It feels like a family for life. Like, if I've been in it for 3 years, I'm hoping to go alum next year, and like that'll be something that like in 25 years they'll have events that I can go to and still continue to connect with all these different people and then meet even more people, because there are so many different Alpha Tau Omegas from different fraternities, but from different universities, and there's a way for all of us to connect at these big events, and it's just a huge opportunity to constantly network with new people and constantly just have people you know and trust and never feel alone.
It's thinking about it, it's also really good for people that don't, like you said, don't want to do, like, you don't want to do a sorority.
And I don't have to pay to be involved. like the work I put in is basically like my dues. So
Loophole.
like because I feel like my biggest thing about joining a sorority is I didn't want to pay to have friends. I wanted to be somewhere and like want to be there and not have to worry about exchanging money to feel like I can be somewhere. I didn't have to exchange anything but my time, and I like wanted to put my time there, and I like wouldn't want to put my time anywhere else.
And obviously Greek life is different for everybody. Like some people don't feel, like you said, it's exchanging money for friends. Some people already know people there. It's different for everybody, but it sounds like with your sweetheart court thing that it's a good way for people that feel like you do, where you don't want to exchange money for friends. And it's a way that you can be part of Greek life without feeling like you have to be in a sorority.
Exactly.
Because also some people don't have time for it.
Exactly. And I'm not like, I don't get like penalized for not being able to come to every event. I'm what's the word? Like, I'm thanked for even showing up, for even wanting to be there. It's like the fact that I even want to be present is like so like noticed and like not looked past.
And it's definitely good for everyone thinks about Greek life, the fraternities are only men and sororities are only women. And if they do, like you mentioned, some of them have sweethearts, some of them don't. It's seen as, obviously they have events that they work together. Like I've heard on campus of the events where it's like one fraternity and one sorority, they're paired up.
Date parties.
Yeah.
What is it? They also do like profit shares. Literally anything to get involved. And they can get involved with each other, but sometimes it's not as easy.
Yeah, it's harder to work together, whereas like with this, it's kind of helping, instead of just being like, oh, so every year this person shows up for sweetheart court, you almost like they don't think anything of it at one point. It's, oh, we're hanging out.
No, it's just
they're
like,
helping us.
We're all family. We're all together, just doing things to help each other and just be together.
So you mentioned your things that you help out with them. What does a typical day for you look like?
Typical day over there, if we are like, if there's a party coming up or an event, like it's a big process. We have to like make a design, then we have to sketch out like a banner, then we paint it. And it's like, it could be a 3 to like week process. But that's just for banners. There's also things like we help design their like flyers. Like Alpha Tau Omega does a huge crawfish boil every year in April. And like this year they doubled the number, like made history with the numbers about the money they raised this year. But like for that, like I helped them last year design their flyer that they posted out for that. And all the money they raised for that did go to the School of DeBart for the kids on campus. But it's just like simple like things like that. Just like I feel like men are really good at designing stuff, but sometimes I feel like women can be a little bit better about being more creative and like with the digital stuff. So I feel like it's really like for us and like things that we can do. And if that makes sense.
Yeah. I was thinking about it. I was like, do I want to say that they're probably very grateful for having someone that's got a little bit more
and like that's definitely
organization with
something
them?
we do enjoy. Like we love designing things and like being crafty. It's like very much up our alley.
It kind of brings both of them together where so you're not looking at a poster around that's got like the fraternity name and like a very like pixeled picture of like a crawfish or something. You're like, what is this?
Detailed and like very well put through, and like a lot of time goes into them, and they really like every time we do them they are so grateful and so like impressed with the hard work we put out.
That's very good, because I feel like people would get, especially women would get very concerned about like, oh, I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna do all this stuff and they're just gonna have like they're gonna want me to do this and they're gonna want me to do that and they're not gonna
It's always
be grateful.
like, could you do this? Do y'all mind doing this? Do y'all have time to do this? It's nothing but respect, and I feel like that makes me want to help them even more. And it's also the fact that like it's not gone. None of the work that any of us put in goes unnoticed. We are always thanked and treated like we are supposed to be there and like we are contributing just as much as they are. If not, like I'm not saying we're doing the exact same things. They have a lot more responsibilities than we do, but it's never like we're less than them.
Of course. How do you manage your time with working with the fraternity?
I really don't have good time management skills, but I just know that at the end of the day, I want to be there and I'm going to do whatever I can to get all my work done to go hang out with all my friends.
Yeah, it's like a almost like when you're in high school and you're like, I'm going to get all my work done and then I'm
Exactly.
going to go hang out with my friends.
But I can even go over to that house and do my homework. Like every Tuesday, they have Tuesdays where like all of their potential new members and anyone that's in the fraternity is invited over to the house, and we all do homework together. And if anyone needs help, there's people there to help you, and you just have as much support as you could possibly need.
Over time, I've had a bunch of, I think last semester we had the Chi Omega talking about the Song Fest, so I'm learning little by little about Greek life. I'm getting there. I don't know much about it because that scares me a little bit.
Fair. I was scared in the beginning, but you know, fear is excitement.
I also I definitely do not fit into any of that, and I'm perfectly okay with that. But I actually enjoy having Greek life people come on here because I get to know a little bit more and more about stuff that I have no idea about. So how do you think being in the fraternity has shaped you as a student?
It has made me into the person I am today. I came to college, I'm not gonna lie, I was very unsure, doubted myself. I didn't even know if I could handle college. But I have to say, with all the experiences that I've gone through and all the things I've learned, not only being in a fraternity, but just being in college and having all these things, it has made me into a leader, leader. It has given me a sense of purpose. I am able to network with so many different people. I can I know so many different majors that I could just have a single conversation with or like get any type of information I needed. I also feel the biggest sense of purpose. I feel like I belong there, I want to be there, and me being there is like for a reason. Like I don't feel like, oh, should I what I'm trying to say is I don't question whether I should be in that fraternity. I know that this is everything that I needed to turn into the person I am today. Without being in the fraternity, I don't think I would have had the confidence to do half the things that I'm doing today. I'm a complex manager at the University of Southern Mississippi, which I never thought I would be able to do that. And I'm also now a producer for WSM TV, or radio, whatever it's called. And I swear I don't think I would have had the will or the dedication or even the motivation to do all that if it wasn't for the men of Alpha Tau Omega showing me that I literally could do anything.
I have actually the nerd version of that. I just did robotics in high school and horrified, would not talk to people, did not have the want to do any of it. I would not talk in front of groups or anything.
Scared.
I was just like, I'm going to high school, I'm getting my classes. I don't know what I'm doing after this, but I'm just here to get stuff done.
And I swear, like, I have become such an extrovert because of them. Like, I talk to everybody. I will talk to random people when I pass them, and they'll give me dirty looks, but I'll still say, hey, I hope you have a great day. Like, they have given me the confidence I need. Like, literally, the confidence I needed, wanted, now I have it, all because of the men of Alpha Tau Omega.
Being in, I'm not saying the fraternity name because I feel like I'm going to trip over
I'll say it. Alpha Tau Omega.
Yeah, she's got it. Is this something you wanted to do when you first came here, or did it just kind of come out of nowhere?
It literally was fate. God himself put me at that house. God told me, not God actually told me, but I swear it was fate. I never would have thought I was going to go to a fraternity house, let alone love it, let alone want to be there every weekend. But it's whenever I went in there, I met all these people. They were so kind and caring, considerate. I felt nothing but welcomed. And like, I have never felt so welcomed anywhere else or any other house on the row, if you will.
How did you end up at that? Like, we talked about how you ended up there. How did, like, literally the first time you ever went over there?
Biggest whim of my life. It was Paint the Eagle Walk during GU Week, and I happened to just see some people that I tried to talk to. And apparently they were going to the ATO house. And on a whim, I was like, guys, can I please come? They were like, yeah, come on. And ever since then, it's always been like, yes, come. Like, what do you, like, don't even ask. Come. Like, you are welcome. Like, you have a place in this house whenever you need it.
So it was literally just in a moment.
It's a welcome, like, open door policy, like, no questions about it. Like, it wasn't like I had to beg anyone or, like, find the president. Like, it was like, you want to come? Pull up. Literally, I didn't have to put in any amount of work.
That's actually very nice to hear that it's a very welcome.
Like, you all should come to the house. Check it out. Friday, Saturday, like,
I might.
Swear.
I might be able to see if anyone there.
It's worth the shot. There are so many different types of people. We have people in band. We have people in choir. We have people, like, all different types of majors. Like, there is someone there for we got people in esports, too. Like, there is somebody for everyone there.
I'm actually going to talk to you about this afterwards
Okay.
and see if we have anyone.
We should link up.
See if if there's anyone that want to come over here and do interviews for this as well, especially if there's events.
No, I would absolutely. Or, like, let me, like, put the crawfish boil in April. Like, y'all better show up, show out. Like, we better raise money this year.
We could definitely see about getting them on here to talk about any events or stuff that they've done.
They would love to.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for talking about this overall and sharing everything about this, because this is a very unique type of guest, actually. We haven't really had anyone talk about, we've had all kinds of stuff, but yours is a very unique one because it's a student spotlight, but also because no one else has come on here. And
no one else like even wants to talk, or not even wants to talk, but I don't know anyone else who is as proud as I am to be in a fraternity, let alone be in the fraternity of Alpha Tau Omega, the men of the year, like best people in the world.
This has been the Everybody Loves Sam podcast.
Thank y'all so much.
Coming up, we've got Justin Glowacki on the seafood labeling law debate.
Seafood labeling laws are up for debate at the state capitol. Two proposals push for more transparency and would require restaurants to disclose whether their seafood is domestic or foreign. Currently, about 94% of seafood consumed in the U.S. is imported, and critics like Joe Spraggins, the executive director of the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, argue that it doesn't always meet the same safety standards.
It's just like you. You deserve the right to know what you're eating. You know, and you deserve the right to know that what you're eating is coming from domestic or either foreign.
Gulf Coast fishermen also support the measures, saying that the change would bring fair competition. I'm Justin Glowacki. This report brought to you by the Roy Howard Community Journalism Center.
Thank you for listening to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. We are thankful for Carl Wilson, our audio engineer, Gabby Collier, our film producer, for keeping this bird soaring. We especially want to thank our program director, Adeline Fields, our audio producer, Cadence Renfro, our booker, Austin Flores, and our general manager, Dr. Martin, as well as our guest today, Sam Romeo. That's all for today on Southern Miss Radio. Thank you for listening, and remember, fly, eagle, fly. I'm your host, Abby Buzegard, signing off. Stay creepy.